Hello and welcome to Press TV's Top 5. I'm Marcia Hashimi. Thanks so much for being with us. Well, Indian troops have opened fire on Kashmiri protesters, killing at least 9 people and injuring scores of others. This brings to 12 the number of people killed by Indian forces during 24 hours. The incident happened when people held a massive funeral for top pro-independent figure Burhan Wani in the south of Srinagar. Wani was killed in a gun battle with Indian government forces on Friday. 2 other pro-independence fighters were killed on the same day, sparking widespread clashes in several neighborhoods in southern Kashmir. Well, thousands of residents hurled rocks at Indian troops who responded by firing live munitions, pellet guns, and tear gas. Protesters were defying a curfew imposed by Indian officials in most parts of volatile Kashmir. The Muslim-majority Kashmir is divided between India and Pakistan and claimed in its entirety by both. Well, we're going to cross over to Kashmir, joined by Press TV's Shahana. But Shahana, good to have you with us. Tell us about the situation, how tense overall the situation is on the ground, and tell me the latest of what's going on there.
First of all, it was really difficult for me to come on a Skype and to talk to you live because all the internet connections and all the connectivities has been suspended by the government because they do not want maybe they do not want the protests to snowball. But the situation, I can tell you that it has already snowballed since yesterday. There have been many killings, there are many injuries, there are protests going on, people are not moving into their homes. It's just an night time in Kashmir, so people are still on streets. People, we can hear songs of independence from the mosques and on the loudspeakers. People are singing the songs which are really touching the hearts of all the people in the region, and people are demanding that it's a high time that India must realize that people of Kashmir are demanding something which is a legitimate demand from their side. People are demanding independence from Indian rule. So at the moment, I can tell you the latest is that people are still not moving into their homes. Obviously, yes, in the night time, the security vigil and security apparatus came at least to a level which is not that too high. But there is an expectation that the number of those people who are injured might turn into deceased, because there are more than 40 bullet injuries, and they are considered to be critical. So the situation isn't right at the moment, and it's a kind of a situation where people are disheartened because they consider that as if they're not humans, because they're seeing that there are incidents happening in other parts of the world, and even one death counts when it comes to other countries. But when it comes to Kashmir and when it comes to Muslims, why the deaths do not count? Why the killings are taken for granted? And why there isn't any justification? It's a high time that people are calling international community to take a look at how India is responding to peaceful protesters and peaceful demonstrations in the region. So
well, Shahana, what about that? Shahana, you just mentioned about the international community. When you're out there and you're talking to people on the street, is that the direction that they think that this situation can be solved, or what do they want to see happen, and how do they think that it can happen?
Marcia, we saw back in 1980s, we saw an insurgency, we saw people taking up arms against Indian rule, but nothing happened. Nothing changed for Kashmir and Kashmiri people. Then again, we saw a transaction in 2008. We saw people moving from a violent moment to a non-violent, peaceful moment. But again, nothing. For another 6 years have passed. Nothing has happened for the people. No change, nothing. And again, now we are seeing the transaction that youngsters are taking up arms against Indian rule. So I think it's a high time that people, when I talk to people, they say this is the time for negotiations and talking on the table. Because if anything else will happen, that will be a war between India